Hey everybody, it's a hot town, summer in the city, and time for the shop update here at Woodsmith. We're gonna fill in on some projects that were started last week and a couple of drawings from Dylan taking shape in real life. So we'll get started with Mark first here.
Okay, well, I've got the project that I started last week all wrapped up, which is the Dylan designed shop stool. So if you follow me, it's through there and to be photographed. Not always right when I say I'm going to have things done ready for Facebook Live, but this week I'm correct to my word. So this is a shop stool that I've got going on. So we've got a cherry seat pan and a cherry backrest. The rest of it is hickory, and then with a steel for a footrest. To create these tapered legs, I used a taper jig on the table saw. And then I know we talked about this week how to create the dish on the seat itself. There's several different ways of doing that. You can use a router, you can do it by hand with carving tools, or you can use a grinder. I cheated a little bit on this and I got Chris to CNC it out just to save some time. So lots of different ways to do that. This back piece here, this started off with like two solid pieces of wood, mitered and then joined with some splines. And then created, what I did, I used a trammel to cut that radius on the exterior, then a trammel to cut the interior. Once that was all done, took it over to the router table, then started with a 1/4 inch round over, 3/8 round over, little by little, and then up to a 3/4 inch round over to create the kind of tube, as you would say. So once that was done, I did these ends just by using some hand tools, some rasps and some sandpaper. And then when it was time to do this scalloping bit here, went over to the bandsaw and then cut it out on the bandsaw, and then smoothed it up with a pretty big diameter spindle sander. What else is there? So this metal footrest was giving me a little bit of grief yesterday, so that was my third attempt, just trying to get the right bend to it. What you need to do on this is so I laid out my radius, what I needed on my bench, just marked it out with my compass, just to give me like a guideline, and then went over to the vise and was just working at trying to get that radius round. Started off with like a round plywood form that was smaller than what that is, just so I can bend it around, because what I did wrong, started off with the correct radius that I needed, but then it was giving me too much spring on the end, so you need to start with a smaller radius and then just work your way around it, and then just bend a little by little. But like I said, it took me 3 attempts, but I got it in the end. I'm happy how it turned out, and that's just bolted on there with some screws, and that is pretty much it. I haven't sat in it yet to see if it's comfortable, because it's waiting for the lacquer to go off, so I don't want to leave any butt prints in their seat pan. So that's that. On to the next one, which I think is a John Doyle special, which is a little gift box. It's all start working on Monday. Thanks for checking in.
It's going to be a little difficult because there's so much going on my bench at all times that it's difficult to discern which project, or one project starts, the other begins. But the one that I've been working on, again, a whole week's gone by, so it's hard for me to really recall, but I think at the time I was working on doing drawings or even finishing up a model for this project. This goes in the same issue of shop notes as a stool that Mark just mentioned. This is a tool organizer that's meant to go over a workbench pushed up against a wall, or just be wall mounted to, again, help organize some of those miscellaneous tools that typically get lost in drawers. Kind of the inspiration behind this piece was we all have a small set of tools we like to keep close and out of drawers so that they don't get lost and that they're just more visible and easier to access. So after looking through several examples of different people's shops and kind of seeing their, again, shop organizers or shelves that were built clearly out of a need to have things close, it was kind of interesting to see the different kind of amalgamations of these types of projects that people had. And so as far as the material on this, I wanted to use stuff that we had around the shop. Since it's a smaller project, we usually have a lot of like cutoffs and smaller pieces, larger projects that get discarded and they just end up sitting and sitting and sitting. And so it's nice to have projects that are smaller that we can use those leftover materials for. I went ahead, we had a part of a sheet of it looks like cherry, 3/4 inch cherry combi core plywood, and then we had a bunch of alder left over from a project that Steve worked on. It was a sideboard. Very lovely to work with, but I thought the two woods complemented each other pretty well. For the shelving, I ended up using the plywood. The two kind of OG or Sima curve sides here are solid panels that I created using the alder. The chisel rack on the back is also solid alder. I'm going to integrate some more of the alder 4/4 into some of what you can't see now, but I'm going to have some individual racks down here for smaller tools that again are specific to my need. Another kind of driving force behind this was to again have a complete project but leave it a little bit open-ended. So I wanted this to function as a piece that people can manipulate and have ultimately suit their needs. And so created a very small slot on the side, so if you have calipers or combination squares, of course they could go up top, they could go on the side. I did do 4 holes on this side here, so if you wanted to put a set of screwdrivers in there, again, there's plenty of storage up top too. There is this first kind of shelf here that I cut a slot in for a hand drill. I like having my hand drill close, and then I did a cutout at the top here for a cord, so my charging station can go right up there to the left. Of course, you could put it on the other side if you wanted, or you could even put it down here depending on the size. So there's a lot of room to make changes as you need them in your shop. The other thing that you can't see on this until we install it, and maybe next week we take a look at this project or revisit it again once I have all the little tool holders complete and staged for photography. But I'm going to do some 3/4 inch standoffs in the back, so this will not sit flush with the back of the wall. And the reasoning for that is I wanted there to allow room for cords. So if you're somebody that wants to use this as more of a charging station than for hand tools, you certainly could do that. And that just allows cords to go run down the back side of this and of course go into your outlets. So again, a lot of opportunity to customize this the way you want it. I think we might get a little bit better idea of how this functions next week. Again, when I have it staged for photography, I'll have some of my tools on there. Of course, they'll be finish applied, and then some of those custom racks on the bottom. So other than that, I am working towards the next issue of Woodsmith for us. I don't really have anything to show, but I'm working on a Art Nouveau inspired mirror. Still trying to decide if I want to do a wall-mounted one or a floor-standing one, but I have a pretty good idea of design-wise how I want that to turn out. So this time next week, check back in, and we'll have something to look at. Thanks for checking in with me.
There you have it. That's the shop update at Woodsmith here for this week. If you have any questions, comments, or smart remarks, you can put those in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to check out a couple of new options that we have for later this fall. In September, you can join me on a woodworking tour of England. We're going to be traveling there in mid-September. You can check that out at woodsmith.com/UK tour. Also in the fall, we're going to do a live event right here in Des Moines, Iowa at the global headquarters. And we will be having a bunch of speakers coming in and having a 2-day event at a renovated junior high. So it's going to be woodworking education amped all the way up. We'd love to see you there for that as well. You can check that out at on our website for Woodsmith. Just search for Woodworking in America 2024. See you next week, everybody. Bye.